Something Trapped Me in the Bathroom Stall Today by Mr. Michael Squid. I work in an office building where the entire floor shares the men and women's bathrooms. I've been here for a year and am familiar with a few people on the floor, but am not the kind to try and engage in small talk while in an embarrassing position. Anyways, today I had to use the facilities and entered the bathroom, then the stall and back. As I was finishing up, the door opened slowly, then shut with a jarring bang. I was startled, but just sat on the seat waiting for them to hurry and exit so I could wash my hands and return back to the office. No sounds were coming. The person clearly wasn't using the sink or toilet. I wondered if they turned back to get something or make a phone call and left. But I lowered my head to the bottom gap between the floor and saw dress shoes pointed directly at the stall where I sat. I was a bit creeped out, but I wasn't letting this person wait me out. One thing I hated was people seeing me emerge from a toilet. Don't ask me why. I just don't personally like to be identified as that person. Another thing I hated was being rushed. I sat there for a few minutes, still hearing no sound, and checked my phone, ripped toilet paper, and flushed it. Nothing. I looked back under and stared at those shiny leather shoes under dark dress pants just pointing at me. What the hell was this asshole doing? I coughed loudly to signal to the lurking man he was being rude. I waited a few minutes, realizing I had to get back to work and simply had to deal with walking by this jerk. I was about to open the stall door when it shook from a loud booming pound. I yelped in fright, then shouted, "Fuck! What the hell?" No response. I heard some horrible gurgling sound from the other side that sounded awful and inhuman. I was truly scared at this point, heart racing, and I peered down to the gap near the floor once more to see the shoes directly in front of the stall I sat in. "Please give me some space, sir," I said, trying not to sound as nervous as I was. No response. I said, "Fuck it," and stood upright and fastened my belt. I turned the lock and started to push open the door, but couldn't budge it. The man clearly was forcing it shut with all his weight. "Get away from the door or I'm calling the cops," I said firmly, seriously dreading any confrontation with this guy. I heard some whispered panting that truly unnerved me, followed by a horrible, saliva-filled grunt. "Move!" I ordered, shaking the door. But the man didn't budge. He just stood there, holding the stall closed. At this point, I was horrified. I was in the least trafficked office bathroom I had ever worked with, and since we shared one key for the office, I knew no coworkers would be in until I returned with it. In desperation, I loudly stated, "I'm calling 911. And as if in response, I saw clear fluid drip to the floor near the stall entrance, repulsing me. I was horrified, realizing it was probably saliva and nothing worse, but was seriously disgusted and afraid. Out of options aside from driving my weight into the stall door, I dialed 911. I spoke loudly so the man could hear as I stated the emergency and gave the address. The minutes that followed felt like an eternity. Horrible, disgusting, and inhuman sounds buzzed from the other side of the stall, as if the man was trying to get as close as possible with the barrier in the way. More splashing, clear liquid spattered on the tile floor, then a pool of yellow began to trail into view from beyond the metal walls confining me. Eventually, there was a banging on the bathroom door to the outside hall, the announcement that the police were there and to open up. I waited for what felt like an hour until they finally returned with the key. "Jesus Christ," I heard an officer say, soles of shoes shuffling and slapping in a jog on the tile just out of view. I opened the door slowly, realizing it was finally unobstructed. "Heart attack, looks like," the officer said. and I stared down at the body of the overweight man in an expensive suit, blue face, and bloodshot eyes, mouth dripping with drool and pants wet. The dead, staring eyes on the lifeless corpse of the man that had died standing before falling into the stall door, forcing it shut.